Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Clive Barker Podcast. Do us a favor and subscribe or follow wherever you get your audio, or follow one of the links on the side banner of the website. In episode 336, Jose and Ryan go over some play news and Ann Bobby's show. Okay, this just in. As I'm editing, it's been revealed that Ann Bobby's show, still standing and streaming live, has been delayed until Monday, March 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Today, we also thank all the great people who made our 10th anniversary Kickstarter, Clive Barker Podcast Presents Fundraiser 9 Celebrations, a record-breaking success. This episode is sponsored by Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination. Don Bertram is a longtime friend of Clive's and an advocate of his art, but Don's unique and inspiring paintings are for sale, and up to 50% of the proceeds go to the Arts and Medicine program at Texas Children's Cancer Center. Click the side banner and follow the link to the Etsy shop to have a look. I myself bought The Sentinel from Don and I love it. Well, welcome. This is episode 336 of the Clive Barker Podcast. This is our Kickstarter thanks episode.
Yeah.
Good evening, Jose.
Hi, Ryan. How you doing?
Good.
We had a pretty good Kickstarter this year.
Yeah. Before we get to that stuff, there's just a couple of news items. The first one, I'm a little jealous of anybody who lives out this way, but there's a production of Frankenstein in Love by Northern State University in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Man, I wish I could get the university in my town. UAF, if you're listening, I want a production of Frankenstein in Love. Or any Clive Barker play.
Yes. This is going to be the NSU Theater Program presents Frankenstein in Love in the Johnson Fine Arts Center, Black Box Theater. Performances will run at 7:30 p.m. February 17, 18, and 19, as well as 3 p.m. on February 20. So the thing is, there will not be any online sales or advanced ticket sales. In fact, payment for this will be cash or check only. Debit or credit cards will not be accepted, and it's at the campus. It's free for students, and cost at the door is $10 for adults and $5 for senior citizens and NSU faculty or staff.
Unfortunately, that's pretty far away from us, especially me.
Aberdeen, South Dakota.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be a very student-oriented event.
Yeah. So if you were listening and you're in South Dakota and you're going to go see this, let us know and tell us about it when it's over, because I want to hear about it.
And probably you're going to be going to this if you're in Aberdeen and if you know about it.
We already kind of highlighted this in our last episode, but this is the last chance. This episode is going to be posted on Sunday, so just a few hours from when this episode is posted. Ann Bobby and Friends Still Standing and Streaming will be starting. So it's kind of your last chance to get tickets and watch that.
Right, live from Feinstein's 54 Below. And it's going to be the day before Valentine's Day on February 13 at 7 p.m. Eastern. And there's going to be more people there other than Ann Bobby, and they're going to be singing, reading stuff, telling stories, and it should be really interesting. It's going to feature also Christopher Schelling, Shannon Ford, Marissa Licata, Laura Dean, and Steve Gettinger. So, Ann Bobby was a Broadway performer, movie star, TV star.
Anybody who's on Occupy Midian, the Facebook group, she made a post about this herself, which was really cool. She came onto our group and to talk about it, and I said, "Hey, I got my tickets," and she said she was going to do a shout out for me. So I thought that was pretty awesome. I'm super stoked. I guess it's going to be on during the Super Bowl. So if you care about the Super Bowl, I guess, I don't know, you're going to miss it because it's live. But
I don't care. I don't care about the Super Bowl.
I don't. You know what? We're setting up a D&D game that I play with my brother and with Brant and
sure.
With Joel and Jennifer and Joel's friend and Rob's like, "What about the Super Bowl?" I said, "Wait, is that this weekend?" And he's like, "Yeah." Oh crap!
Sunday. So now you got to host a D&D Super Bowl party.
Yeah, so I'm going straight from the Ann Bobby thing to D&D after the Super Bowl's over, apparently.
Your character has to catch the sacred melon artifact that gives +2 dexterity. Yeah. And then you have to kick it into the maws of the giant beast of Galbathor.
Yeah, and make a performance check with when you do your touchdown dance or whatever.
That's right.
Rob said the Super Bowl could last 4 hours. That doesn't seem right. Is it really 4 hours?
You're asking me. I don't know anything about American football.
I know. God.
I know soccer games usually take 90 minutes. So, yeah.
So
I've been to a baseball game, and I had no idea what was going on. That lasted a long time. And Bobby, having worked with everyone from Stephen Sondheim to Clive Barker on Broadway, TV, film, and beyond, her cabarets never failed to weave episodes.
Yeah.
So from Mad About You to Cop Rock, from Smile to BioShock, and from Merrily We Roll Along to Born on the 4th of July, which she was in that movie.
Yeah, with Tom Cruise.
This is a live performance direct from Broadway's living room.
I should watch Mad About You again just to watch for Ann Bobby, because I saw that show sometimes, I think, when it aired back in the early 90s, maybe? Or was it late 80s? I forget. But I wasn't watching for her then, so probably it would be good to rewatch. I bet it's somewhere, like Netflix or...
Maybe next year we can do a stretch goal for commentary tracks about Mad About You or Cop Rock.
Yeah. Well, Cop Rock we could probably manage. I bet there aren't that many episodes of that.
Yeah. That'd be... Bring Ann Bobby in for like a little commentary track special.
Yeah. Yeah,
she could say, "Hey,
such a weird idea." Yeah. Oh, my dad, when he was really into like, violent action shows or whatever, and Cop Rock came on, and he was so mad. He's like, "No, we're not watching this."
He probably hates Reno 911.
I don't know. I wasn't living with him when that came out.
Yeah, this is still going on. Anyway, so that's a couple of interesting news bits. Another Clive Barker play being produced, Frankenstein in Love, and of course, Ann Bobby being part of this wonderful streaming event where you can probably hear her sing and tell stories.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. So on to our Kickstarter. It's over. We did it. We definitely hit our goal. In fact, we made it to $29.27, so $2,927. Our goal was $800. We hit a lot of stretch goals, doing weekly episodes and commentaries and some books and some equipment for the people who don't have good audio gear. You and I have pretty good audio gear, but some of the people we do Jericho with could use some. And commentaries, which we've already started. We've already done 2 commentaries this year. Jericho Squad will continue. We'll get some green screens for the backs of our chairs and continue the A to Z of horror commentaries. And we'll bring back Duels of Blood. I've got that on the schedule to do that next week, but now I'm kind of thinking, I don't know if I'll have time to build that before then. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Because we got 4 volumes of Duels of Blood, and you said we probably would pick half of each roster. We'll see. We'll do some graphics and stuff as usual, and maybe we can make this work.
On Volume 5, I've got the 64 candidates already there, and they're color-coded from which volume they were from.
Ooh.
And I
got Cenobites and Breed and characters from The Great and Secret Show. And
I took out all the repeats. So this is a pretty good list, and we need to use a randomizer to put them in random order against each other, and then all you out there, you could vote on who's your favorite, and we'll see who's the winner.
Yes, this is basically a popularity contest. It's not like we're actually pitching, like who's going to win between Pinhead and the kid from The Thief of Always. It's like, Pinhead would win. No, it's who you like best. Who do you think should pass the next round?
Yeah, and it's never really who you expect. And the last couple of years, we did have kind of ringers, like as far as having fans that kind of took over the voting.
Sure, yeah.
And
chat.
So and sometimes we can have voting for like every 30 seconds or every 5 minutes or every half hour. We kind of decide how often you can vote. JavaScript little voting thingies look at your IP address and decide if, and set a timer, say you can't vote for another half hour or whatever. But people will switch to other devices.
It's all rigged, man. It's a rigged election.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That brings back painful memories.
I know. But, Duels of Blood final volume. We expect a lot of cool stuff happening and a lot of great characters rejoining bracket systems. Yeah. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and we'll go, and we'll, as we go along, because they get shorter and shorter, as they get eliminated. And so we start adding in other things with those episodes. So we'll probably be doing that again. But I don't know what yet. We'll have to figure that out. As far as the Kickstarter goes, so we've hit all of these stretch goals. The only one we didn't hit was down at the very bottom. There was one for special effects roundtable.
Right.
Yeah, roundtable discussion of special effects in Barker movies. So we were close. We were like $60-some away from that.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, at the end, it got a little anticlimactic because one person reduced their bid.
Oh no!
So it went down instead of going up at the last minute.
It's all good though. I mean, I understand.
Yeah. Things happen and people have to budget accordingly.
But hey, we'll see how that goes. If it has to be done later in the year or maybe the beginning of next year, there's some exciting stuff. We're doing more interviews, so who knows? Maybe we'll establish some good connections with some interesting people and make something work. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see how that evolves.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. So first we want to thank the people who donated stuff for us to be able to do this, because without them, we would just have to rely on T-shirts and the goodwill of people who just want to see us succeed without anything in return.
Yes, or donating stuff from our own collections.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, and donating stuff from our own collections, which would make us the reverse of big fans of Clive Barker. We'd actually be giving our stuff away.
yeah, which we've done a little bit of that too. But yeah, so thanks to Eric Gross. He donated some Toy Maker stickers and Silesium Pandoric parchments that are signed by Barbie Wild, which was super cool.
Yeah, and we would like to thank Century Guild for the Smiling World posters.
Yeah. The interesting story about those. They actually gave those to us 4 years ago, and we just got such a huge pile of them that they come back every year for the Kickstarters. That's the only time you can get them from us.
Right.
And thanks to Ed and Nina for the T-shirt design, the Cenobium T-shirt design.
Oh yeah, so cool. Yeah, that one, the Cenobite based on the Nirasawa sculpted Cenobite that he did.
Yeah.
It was hand drawn by Nina.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to get myself one of those. And your T-shirt design was awesome too. You did and that was a T-shirt that you had in a drawer for a while. I guess a virtual drawer on the computer, right?
That's true. I had made that for myself during the Occupy Mid-In years, and then for no apparent reason, I just forgot I'd made that, and I put that file on a disk, and I put my T-shirt on a drawer, and I forgot about it. And I was like, hey, why don't I bring that out? It's Baphomet. And it turns out that just yesterday, one of our sponsors, the wonderful Don Bertram, was telling me, oh, this is the best design from the ones that you've made so far. And I was like, oh, that's great, because he's an artist. So for me, that's a real high praise.
That was so cool. I agree. I'm going to get myself one of those. And thanks to Joe and Catalina of Little Spark Films, they gave us download codes for their short film, The Torturer, based on Paul Kane's short story, The Torturer, starring Paul T. Taylor. And there are posters that they're also included, which are signed by Paul T. Taylor, posters for The Torturer. So thanks so much, Joe and Catalina. You guys are awesome.
Pinhead from Judgment, Paul T. Taylor. And the movie is not really that short. It's over an hour. So, So it's not a full feature, but it's pretty good.
It's sort of in between a short film and a feature film.
Yeah. It's the inner torments of a man.
Yeah. Aiden Faolan. He donated comics and magazines and Dread fanzines.
Yeah, some of those are pretty rare. So, They used to be on eBay all the time, but not anymore. There's always the same number of magazines from Dread and stuff, but there's always more and more collectors trying to get them.
Yeah. And this one was from my collection, so I'm not going to thank myself. And thanks to Mike Lloyd. He donated a page from the Nightbreed press kit. Still
you, Mike.
image. Yeah, thanks, Mike. And Ed and Nina again. They in kind of mid campaign they added some more stuff, which was really cool. A Best Cutler Gallery show booklet, and the Nightbreed, the stand up Nightbreed display that was like for video stores.
Yes, something I've never seen before. That had the promotion for Go to Hell, Michigan. Yeah,
and at the very end, and I don't think that it's sold, but there was a poster that Ed had that I thought was really intriguing and kind of funny. That Go to Hell, for Hellraiser Bloodline, go to hell and then go to paradise. So you go to Hell, Michigan, which is a real place. And I was telling Jennifer and Joel about this, and Joel goes, "I want to know about more places that have stupid names." So we went on the internet and started looking up all the places that had terrible names.
Yeah. What did you find?
Anything
funny?
There was a place called Zeisel, California, and
wow,
and there's a bunch of really Boring, Oregon, which I knew about already. I had a coworker at Remax that was moving there, and she's like, "Yep, I'm moving to Boring, Oregon." I'm like, "Oh, come on, it's not that bad."
It's always funny to find, places that have that weird kind of name.
Yeah.
I mean, in my country, Portugal, there's also cities that have some strange names that are names of things that I cannot translate right now. But, it's always funny.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that Welsh city that has a huge name that has like 30 syllables or something.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and almost no vowels. Yeah, there's some crazy names out there. But yes, this one was you went to Hell, Michigan, and then they sent you to Paradise in the Bahamas.
Paradise Island, Bahamas, I think.
Yeah. Ed and Nina, you guys were great supporters and always good contributors and members of our team. You guys always bring everything up to the table in terms of like content and helping out. So thank you so much.
And if you guys didn't get that poster, or you didn't see it in time, you kind of missed out, because that was super cool and almost one of a kind. Like, I had never heard of that contest. I'd never seen that poster. Pete Atkins had never heard of it either, and he was going to sign it and personalize it for whoever got it.
So that little yellow thing that looks like a Post-it. Yeah. That was actually the form that you would pull out of the poster. There would be a little block of forms in it. You'd pull one out, fill it in, and enter the drawing.
I wonder how many video stores actually posted that up. I bet a lot of them just saw that and were like, nah, and they just throw it in the back.
I don't know. My video stores that I used to go to put up everything they got. So they used to have all sorts of standees and, things on their counters, like, talking about the recent movies. So there's a good chance a lot of them did. The problem is probably a lot of those ended up in the trash,
Man, I think that if that was up in any of the video stores I went to, I would have seen it. I would have noticed, because Hellraiser was important to me, and Clive Barker stuff, especially was that 96. Yeah, I was like deep in. I don't know. So I wonder if they canceled that promotion, or it just
could have been just located in a certain state or certain area. Yeah. I don't know, or a certain franchise of like video stores.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Yep. So we also want to thank
to Ed for finding that thing.
Yeah, he's got a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
So we also want to thank our buddy Rob Danhauser. Yes, I want to thank Rob Danhauser for doing the RPG with us. Yeah. But I want to thank our buddy Rob Ridenour, who donated the Memory, Prophecy, and Fantasy Volumes 1 and 3.
Yeah.
These books were put out by Clive Barker archivists Phil and Sarah Stokes. And they're really, really low quantity, books. They're pretty rare, hardcovers, and they got picked up. At least the first one did, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the first one did. And those books are terrific as far as, like, encyclopedic knowledge of Clive Barker's life. I guess I don't need to advertise them because it's already over, but they're just cool. And thank you so much, Rob Ridenour. And of course, thanks to Pete Atkins. He's always, like, ever since he started supporting our podcast, he's been so generous and helpful. And he sent us a signed first edition U.S. hardcover of Morningstar and a Hellbound Heart 20th anniversary advanced reader copy that he signed.
That is pretty cool. Yeah. And he also provided the signed Hellraiser Bloodline script paperback.
Yes.
Which just came out by Encyclopocalypse.
Yeah. So super cool. That was so generous of you, Pete. We really appreciate it. It's
wonderful. It's always great to have Pete in the podcast.
And a friend of the podcast since the very beginning, Max Lichtor of Pyramid Gallery, donated one puzzle box.
Nice. Yeah. And it got picked up almost immediately, right?
Yeah, it sure did. The musical lament configuration box. I have one of those. I think you have one of those too, right?
I have 3 of those.
You have 3 of those. You've got more than Dr. Chenard.
Well, he had 3, right?
Did he have 3?
He did have 3.
Oh man, so you are Dr. Chenard.
No comment.
Okay. You have to see.
The mind is a labyrinth.
You have to know.
Yes. I just need to put glass domes on top of them. Yeah. And they were in Portugal, which is one of the things that will eventually make its way to me thanks to the Kickstarter, because our listeners and backers helped me reach the goal of bringing some of my collection here so I can feature it in more episodes.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that too. That'll be cool.
Yeah. Heck yeah. I'm going to be wearing that Midian key around my neck every time we play RPG games.
Yeah. Imaginer 4 and 5 from Phil and Sarah Stokes. Thank you so much, Phil and Sarah. We really appreciate that. They initially gave us a whole bunch of Imaginer books to use for our fundraiser, and those are the ones that we have left from the time when they gave us all those, and those are gone now. So we did it. Yeah.
Yes.
And they were able to really help us out.
You guys are amazing, Phil and Sarah. Thank you so much.
And now the biggest one, an original Clive Barker sketch, donated by Don Bertram, our friend and sponsor and all-around cool guy who helps kids in the Texas Children's Cancer Center. Thank you so much, Don.
Wonderful, Don. Yeah. The sketch was this kind of a towering sculpture, right? That ends up in a giant head. We only see the back of the head.
Yeah.
Itself. It's like a rock stone kind of head, and there's steps going up. And it's just, again, it's one of those images that's so striking because you want to know what's on the other side of that head. What's the face looking at? What does it look like? And it's just, oh man, someone really is going to give that a good home.
Yeah, I can't wait. The person who got it, and I'm just barely digging into the Kickstarter right now, so I don't remember which one of our backers got this. But if you could show us a picture of the wall that it's hanging on or its final home, we would love that. We'll feature it on the blog, if you can do that.
That would be amazing. And we can keep you anonymous if you don't want people to know who you are. But we would love to see that, finally nested in its own wall with a Clive Barker fan that really loves that art.
Yeah. Who was it? Oh, Ed. I was talking to Ed on the phone one time, and he had said we should do another Show Off Your Stuff episode. It's like, heck yeah, we should. Remember when we did it last time, Google, was it Google
Hangouts?
Google Hangouts had just barely started, and it was tricky to run, and nobody showed up. And so it was just you and I. And I watched it recently on our YouTube channel, and the quality is terrible because of the cameras and stuff at the time.
Oh, sure. I think my camera was like super cheap. I was in Portugal. I didn't have a really good connection. My connection was like a 3G connection on one of those little, You remember those dongles that you could buy
God.
with a little SIM card inside, and you could plug that into your computer, and you could have internet anywhere because it was basically mobile service. That's what
rough.
I had.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. But now, I mean, we're in so many Clive Barker groups, and we know so many people, and we can schedule a Zoom call, and it would be so neat to just like show off our stuff and have everybody else show off your stuff. And just advertise it to listeners. We want just listeners to join in.
Yeah. Nobody trying to,
no Cynthias.
Use their cameras. No Cynthias. No cameras trying to show us things that are not appropriate. Yeah,
exactly. But I thought that was a great idea of Ed's, and I think that we should come back and do that again. And we can also invite people that we know have like crazy, amazing collections.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know some fans who listen to our podcast, and they got some good stuff. Yeah. It's just that they don't really post about it that much. It's just their thing,
And famous people that have awesome stuff, like, oh my gosh, like, was it Chris Velasco, right? That had
Chris Velasco?
Velasco, yeah, that had the Hellbound Heart painting that was used in the 20th anniversary edition.
That's right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, he had it in his office, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and
that's amazing.
So we know a lot of fans that have really good collections, and we also know fans who are somewhat, famous people too that could show up.
And hey, let's not forget our own collection has increased a lot in the last 10 years.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So now we have a lot of stuff too.
Yeah.
And 25th anniversary editions, original Clive Barker sketches. There's a lot of stuff to show off. Okay, so that sounds like a good idea. So put that in for maybe next year or something.
Yeah. Should we thank the backers?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and do that. So we'll just take turns.
Yeah. First up is Geist de la Muerte Gatito. Is that Ghost of the Dead Cat, right?
Yeah, I think so. Thank you so much, Gatito.
The little dead cat.
Yeah. And thank you so much to Jonathan Q, Hellraiser fan extraordinaire.
And Jacob Hendricks.
Thank you so much for your support.
Yeah.
Paul Schaff, thank you for being one of our backers and listeners. It's always great to see people contribute and help support our podcast.
Christopher Meyer, thank you so much, Christopher.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Next is Matthew Aaron Burns.
That's Mr. Burns.
Mr. Burns. What is your first name? I don't know. Thank you, Mr. Burns. Another one is Big O. I don't know if I'm properly pronouncing this. Big O.
Yeah.
Thanks, Big O.
Thanks,
you rock.
Big O. Kristen. Thank you, Kristen.
Thanks, Kristen. I know the next name. Mike Danhauser. That's your dad.
Yeah, thank you, Mike Danhauser. I think he forewent the T-shirt this time and just did money instead.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah. Paul Audino. Thank you again, Paul. We really appreciate your support every year.
Awesome. Amazing. Thanks, Paul. We got Ben Warren.
Yay!
Ben, who once planned an episode of Imagica with us and composed a little piece of music to go along with it.
Oh, my gosh.
That we've used in the Jericho 77 RPG game sessions, right?
Yeah, there's a kind of magic to these plan an episode things. Stuff comes up that we never would have imagined. We didn't know that Ben Warren was a composer when we set that up, and he wanted to do an Imagica episode with us. That was so cool.
Yeah, thanks for keeping up the support, Ben. You rock.
Yeah, and that song that he wrote, the Cradle of Cherzemet, we used in the opening theme of the Jericho Squad episodes
with an interesting narration by Simon Bamford.
Yeah. For people who don't know, that's Simon Bamford speaking there. Aaron Galloway, thank you, Aaron Galloway.
Thanks for your support.
Yeah, thank you for listening and for supporting us.
We also have Charles Jones, also a backer of our Kickstarter. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Thanks, Charles Jones. We have Nicole. Thank you, Nicole.
Thanks, Nicole. You rock for keep listening to us, and thanks for your support. We have Dylan Lyon. Thank you so much for being a backer and a listener.
Thanks, Dylan Lyon. And Bruce Todd. Thank you, Bruce Todd.
Thanks, Bruce. We got Leslie Goldstraw.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your support.
Yeah, thanks, Leslie.
Hey, Matt Batten, right?
Yay.
We met him in Texas, right? Wasn't he? Hey, Matt, how you doing, man? Thanks for the support.
David Anderson.
Good old Dave.
Yeah, David Anderson was actually somebody we tried to get on the podcast before we even started.
Yeah, he did join us once, didn't he?
Yeah. He's just his internet wasn't great at the start of the podcast, but he's given us lots of stuff to think about. He's been a really great commenter and a supporter of the podcast and listener and a friend of the podcast, and he's been on there a bunch of times or a few.
Love
times.
you, brother.
Yeah.
Thanks, David. We got Noel Coverman.
Maybe Coverman, yeah.
Yes, Noel Coverman. Thank you so much for your support. I apologize for mangling your name.
Thanks,
glad
Coverman.
to have you as a listener.
Yeah, Eric Van Holt. Thanks, Eric.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric.
Elena
We
DeGarmo.
got Elena DeGarmo.
Yay.
Yep. Thank you so much for being a long-haul supporter, listener, and contributor to the podcast. Thanks, Elena. And thanks extends to all your cats.
And she's another person we've met in person. She was at the Nightbreed premiere. That's it. Premiere. Yay.
At the Crest in Westwood.
Yeah.
Midian Crosby, I can tell you're a big fan just for your name.
She was at the Nightbreed premiere too, and I made her show us her driver's license.
Oh, I remember her. Thanks, Midian. You changed your name to actually Midian.
I think she was born with it. I think that's what it was. Like her parents were Clive Barker fans. That's
even cooler.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Midian. Keep being a listener. We got Raul, who has helped us so much with the book, and he's a big active member on Discord. In case you don't know, we do have a Discord group. Thank you, Raul, for being such a cool supporter and contributor.
Yeah, thanks, Raul. These next three are all kind of part of Clive McCarthy's group. So Clive McCarthy, Simone McCarthy, and Paul, we're all Clive McCarthy wanting to get multiple items. So thank you, Clive. We really appreciate it.
I love your name, Clive. Thanks for being a listener.
Yeah.
We got Troy Davis. Thank you so much for your support and being a listener of the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Troy Davis. Followers of the Pandorics, which is Eric Gross. Thank you, Eric. We really appreciate your help. He's donated stuff and followed the process of this Kickstarter and kind of cheered us on, and he was a backer as well.
Thanks, Eric. You always rock.
Yeah.
We got Dana Hollingsworth, longtime listener and fan as well. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you, Dana. Dimitrios Lakomentas. And I don't know if I'm saying that right, and I've said that every single year that he's donated. But we thank you again, Dimitrios. You're really cool.
Thanks, Dimitrios. Get in touch. Let us know what you think about the podcast and what's on your mind. We got Robert Brown as well, another backer and listener of the podcast. Thank you so much, Robert.
I think that's Bound.
Oh, Bound. I'm sorry about that. Robert Bound. Thank you so much for your support.
Bound. Michael J. Sullivan. Thanks, Michael J. Sullivan, for being a backer. We really appreciate you.
You rock, Michael. Thank you.
Yeah.
We got Stuart Dixon, which I think I recognize him from other Kickstarters as well. Thank you, Stuart, for your support.
Yeah, thank you, Stuart. Robbie Ridenour.
Robbie!
Yeah, our listeners know exactly who Rob Ridenour is because he did a whole bunch of news stuff for us, and he was on a lot of our podcast episodes. Thanks, Rob.
He's almost like a founding member. Almost. Yeah. If not actually a founding member. He's been with us for like a third of the podcast or more.
Yeah, just a couple of years in, I think, after we started, he was with us.
Gotta call me, Rob, or I'll call you. Thank you so much for your support, and I hope you're doing good.
Yeah. Yeah, we miss you around here. Julia Taylor. Thank you, Julia Taylyor. We really appreciate your support.
Thank you, Julia. Yeah. I love your name as well.
Yeah.
We got Bob's your uncle. Bob's your uncle.
Yeah.
Interesting nickname. Thank you for your continued support.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing this in other Kickstarters. Funny name. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And thank you again, of course, to Don Bertram. We'll be advertising for Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination again, which I'm always happy about because we never know when we do this what we're going to get for advertising, because anybody could do it, right? And we could advertise for things that we don't anticipate or might be uncomfortable with. But I'm always happy that we get to do this one because it's cool art from a friend of ours and a friend of Clive's. And it goes to a good cause. So awesome all around.
It's one of those things that I really appreciate about the podcast is putting us in touch with such nice people like Don, and having him on the podcast, having him on Facebook, being able to talk to him every once in a while and see his art. It's just amazing. And the project that you're connected with. Thank you so much, Don. You've really been a huge pal and a huge support for us.
Yeah, we need to have him on again.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe when we talk about visions of heaven and hell.
Oh, wouldn't that be something? That would be tremendous. That's a great idea.
Sinnerbite. I love that name.
Hey, Sinnerbite, thank you so much for your continued support. Let me guess, your favorite movie is maybe Hellraiser?
Yeah. They're like, I don't know what's Hellraiser. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? I like Nightbreed. Terry K, thank you so much for being a backer, for being a listener, and your continued support.
Yeah, thank you, Terry K. Eduardo Texidor Jr., another annual backer. We really appreciate your continuing support, Eduardo. So thank you.
Muchas gracias, Eduardo. I don't know if you're actually a Spanish speaker, but that's my thanks to you. And let us know what you think. Let us know if you have any suggestions and feedback. I see a lot of people here that been our backers for so long, but I hardly know who they are. Get in touch and let us know.
Dave Jackson. Thank you, Dave Jackson. We really appreciate your support.
Yes, thank you so much for being our listener. And I hope you got some cool stuff from this Kickstarter. And we got Alan J. Corson. Thank you so much for your continued support, Alan, and being a listener. Again, feedback is always a thing we love to hear from our backers. So, you can always drop us a line through Facebook and let us know what you think.
Yeah, actually you bring up a good point, because you backers are the ones who make this possible. So if you want to tell us some ideas you might have for the podcast, please do. Except for my dad. Don't do that, Dad. But everybody else, we want to hear your ideas for the podcast.
Your dad would probably be like, talk about wings.
Yeah, I know you like dragons.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I mean, you guys, the name itself says backers. Yeah. You help. You're the backbone of this podcast. Without your continued support, we probably would have folded this a long time ago, because this stuff is expensive. There's a lot of things to run and pay for, hosting and all that stuff. So this really helps us be able to maintain the episodes up, not just now, but possibly even in the future. I mean, this Kickstarter really helped us set a record, and it's going to give us a lot more equipment to make the podcast better. And we're continuing to put it out in all the platforms that we can, so you guys can enjoy it. Right, Ryan?
Yeah. So, if you want to reach out to us and have any ideas or feedback, we would love that. And actually, Jose, you and I just talked about this not too long ago. We're going to start a Facebook group that's just for our podcast listeners, because I think I mistakenly, after the Nightbreed director's cut came out, I sort of mistakenly tried to change the focus of the Occupy Midian group to be for Clive Barker podcast listeners. But that's not accurate, right? I mean, we got like 14,000 people on there. and not a lot of them are actual podcast listeners. You know, they're people that were along for the ride for the Occupy Midian movement, and then later they're just people who like Nightbreed. So, you know.
Yes, and this would be a good idea to have, you know, mostly people who listen to the show. So we could hear feedback about the episodes. What did you like? What worked better for you? What would you like to see us do? Are there any, like, particular guests that we have that you would like to get better sound for? Or maybe even sometimes we could drop little exclusives into that group, like video calls, you know, because most of our episodes are audio. But sometimes we happen to do them on Zoom just because it's easier to be able to see the person you're talking to. Of course, this would always be with like the consent of the guests that we have on camera. But we could throw little things in there that would be like a boon. And you could always give us a lot of feedback instead of just, you know, we appreciate the support, but also we'd like to have more feedback from you guys because that's the only way we can make the show better for you.
This hobby is supposed to be fun. And honestly, I'm really, really tired of spamming all the Clive Barker groups every time we have an episode. I don't want to do it anymore. And I think that it would be much more beneficial for us and for our listeners if instead of trying to constantly poach all the Clive Barker groups for new listeners, which doesn't seem to be working that well, if we could just instead talk to the people who actually listen to us instead of the people who don't. And that's what I want to do.
When you post stuff from your own groups on groups that don't have a lot of activity, which unfortunately is the case for some of these Clive Barker groups, it just becomes noise. After a while, people just filter it out. And at least in a group for the podcast, we would know that people who are there are the people who listen to us every week. You know, maybe not every week, but they listen to our episodes actively. And so that's who we want to get better for.
So I say let's have that group up this weekend, and we'll have a link to it in the show notes for this episode. So if you're listening, you'll be able to follow that link and in the show notes and go to that Clive Barker podcast listener group.
I think that would really revitalize the show and make it more fun for us as well as for our listeners.
Yeah. You know, and I think we've done this long enough that I don't feel the need to try to win over all the Clive Barker fans anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, at this point, I just want to make sure that the people who listen to us are getting, you know, the best entertainment they can from the show.
Yeah.
And that, again, just passes by them, you know, that goes through them giving us feedback on what they want to see, what they want to do, what they liked about this. And then just hang out with us, talk to us. We'll try to make it interesting for you guys too. Put little things here and there, maybe do a few live streams, you know, when we're doing episodes. I know I can do that for sure.
Yeah.
So that'll be, you know, you get to see a little bit more of how the sausage is made, and you can be the guy who cranks up the handle to make that sausage.
Yeah, and if you listeners, and if you're out there listening and you want to share our podcast with your friends or other Clive Barker fans, that's cool. But I don't want to do it anymore because I think that I've shared it with everybody that I can, and we've been doing it for 10 years. And I think we're where we're going to be, you know, and without word of mouth, I think that we've gone as far as we're going to go. And I think it'll be a lot more fun just talking to people who actually listen to us.
Yes. So watch out for that link for the group. Okay.
Yeah.
And join it and be active in it because we'll make it interesting for you too.
Oh my God, I'm so excited about how much time that's going to save me on the weekend. Do you know I spend like an hour sharing the podcast on all, because there's like 30 Clive Barker groups and Discord.
Right.
And
yeah, I know.
Well, Discord, I'll still put it in Discord because those are our listeners.
Right.
But and like the Reddit and Twitter, I'm just tired of it.
Yeah. What's coming up next, Brian?
Okay, so this is all kind of in flux still, because coming next, we had sort of tentatively put a Books of Blood final volume.
Duels of Blood?
Yeah, Duels of... What did I say?
You said Books of Blood. It's okay.
Duels
Freudian
of Blood.
slip.
Yeah, if people remember, Duels of Blood was our, we just talked about it earlier in the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, so Duels of Blood, the final volume. So the first round of that, if I can get it together to put all that together, because that takes a long time. It takes hours for the first round because it's 32 matches.
Yeah. A lot of little pictures, a lot of stuff. But luckily the pictures for the characters, we already had them from the previous Duels of Blood.
But it's programming the little JavaScript voting thingies that takes forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. Duels of Blood, and we've got Jericho Squad 77, episode 11 coming up, so you can find out what happened next after the aftermath of the debate, and your character sent the bad guy to hell. Cassius Briar to hell.
I regret nothing. I only regret not looting Cassius before I threw them through the portal.
So there's one little hint that I want to throw out there. You guys were so busy arguing with the cameraman and stuff, you totally forgot that Bentley was face down in the river, unconscious.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Bentley!
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh man!
So that'll come up again.
Okay.
Yeah, and
sorry, Bentley.
I was rolling the dice on that to figure out what happened to Bentley, and I was thinking, man, this dice roll is going to make a huge difference on the rest of the campaign.
Ooh, I'll bet. Yeah. I want to watch more VHS movies with Bentley, so I'm probably going to have to jump into that river.
Yeah. All right. And,
second season, baby.
Yeah. And commentary. So JoJo Baby is the next one we're thinking of doing a commentary on. And we've talked about what that is before, but it's kind of a documentary that Clive Barker produced that we haven't seen. At least I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know much about it. Right.
Yeah. So, he's a Chicago artist and former club kid. And, we'll review this. He makes puppets and costumes and all sorts of stuff, and he's a performer. So we'll probably have Joe and Catalina join us for that one if everything goes well from Little Spark Films.
Yeah,
because they're the ones who really pushed us to get more interested and have a deeper dive into this one. We'll watch out for those.
Yeah. So here we go. Season 11 of the Clive Barker podcast has already begun. And it's thanks to all of you Kickstarter backers, and we can't thank you enough, but we tried.
Season 11, the return of the son of the father-in-law of the monster that was in the window across the street.
With dragons.
Of course.
That's good. I did that for my dad who contributed to the campaign.
Hi, Mike. Love you.
Yeah.
And this podcast, having no beginning, will have no end.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope you have subscribed. You can find the Clive Barker podcast wherever you find audio. Show notes for this episode, as well as news and reviews, can be found at our website at www.clivebarkercast.com. The Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial podcast and blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans. Watch for our annual Kickstarter fundraisers to get some cool stuff, and you can buy t-shirts on our TeePublic store. Go to teepublic.com and search for BarkerCast.
Thanks for listening.